Good afternoon, everyone. Just let us know if you can see and hear us okay. I'm just going to jump on the phone just so I can see those comments as they come in. Everyone and their dogs just decided to message me, phone me right at this very second, including Matt Cromie. Oh my goodness, what's
Don't you live
going
in the
on?
same? Don't you live in the same house?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. We're not live on Facebook, so I can tell that already. There's something that's gone wrong with Facebook. So we're only live on YouTube at the moment. So it's going to take me a second.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was a bit slow. Last couple of weeks, it was going a bit slow.
oh, it does say Facebook user. So let's just have a quick look, see what's going on. Oh, it does say we're live. Oh, I think it's just being a bit glitchy. Or it could just be me. Who knows? Right, I'm going to jump on. As long as you guys can see and hear us, that's absolutely fine. Oh, yeah, it does say we're live. So that's fine. So I'll just click
Amazing.
into it. Yeah, good. Hanson's joined us. Hi, Bobby. Hi, Yvonne. Hi, Brian. Hi, Imran. Yeah, just say hello. Yeah, we are on Facebook now. That's good, guys. Thanks for letting me know. Appreciate that. But yeah, Matt just like literally tried to call me at 1 o'clock. I mean, I know we did change times, but we have been doing it for quite a few weeks now. So
A few months even.
yeah, everybody should be aware that we go live at 1 o'clock on a Tuesday pretty much now. So especially my husband. Ray's joining us on YouTube. Good to see you, Ray. Who says that? Nice
Yeah,
back.
I've just noticed. You've moved locations again, haven't you?
I have. I know. And
You're
next week,
doing a me.
I'm doing a you.
Background.
I'm trying to keep up with you. Yeah. Do you know what? It's such a lovely sunny day today. I've been working downstairs, not been working in my office. And I thought I'm just going to do it from down here because it's so light and bright. Whereas, my office upstairs is a little bit on the, darker side. And I thought ever since I've come back from Florida, I've just been wanting to absorb.
Sun craving.
Yeah, the sun as much as possible for sure. Now, what I will say is my back doors are open. My back door is open, and if you can hear any kids screaming, I'm going to say it really loudly because I do have the loudest neighbors in the world. In the hope that they can hear me. So if you can hear that, apologies. All they do is just their kids just scream all day long, which is always fun. So apologies for that, but I just couldn't resist sitting out in the light. But
I should have done it in the garden, shouldn't I? I should have got home and sat in the garden, done it. Never mind.
I might do some garden ones in the summer, definitely. But yeah, I think definitely in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be down at the warehouse as well. So you might see a different background then as well.
Hopefully it's a bit tidier than mine. We're a bit busy.
I can tell. Oh, there's more stuff since I spoke to you last.
There's more stuff. Yeah.
It almost feels like Q4 a little bit. So talk us through it because I know you've been on the road.
I really wish it was.
Well,
So we're putting in this new. I think I mentioned it. We're putting a new image system in place. It's now like halfway implemented. So the problem was obviously when you change system, you kind of have to stop and then you have to start on the new system. But we kind of had about 3 weeks where stuff was still coming in because I agreed deals like weeks, maybe even months in advance. So stuff was still. Oh, sorry, printer's going again. I swear they do it on purpose. I swear they go. Let's print as soon as he goes on the live. I'll tell them off. So we had the new system, and we've basically had like 3 weeks where we've not been able to add new stock to the new system, but we didn't want to use the old system because we weren't allowed to move it over. So everything's just kind of like the past weeks just piled up and piled up and piled up. I mean, we're now moving again, but this is the backlog. This is how much stuff I buy in like a week.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the warehouse is full, so this is the office. The office is now full as well.
So they're creeping into the office as well, and
it's not even creeping; it's full on there. I think.
yeah. No, it's not creeping, and it's definitely building. It's definitely going to engulf you the next time we see you. But you're not here next week, so we will see the progression the week after. So you have to do it from that spot to see whether or not you've actually started moving some of the stuff. If I was to do it from my office. In the warehouse, what you would see is the same stuff that has been there for about 2 years, just literally because it is, like I said, that part of where the camera would show is my sort of Monica from Friends cupboard. It's my bit of, it's my bit of warehouse of shame where there's just stuff that needs to be returned, stuff that's been returned needs to be sorted out, failed bundles, all these different types of things that you just let accumulate, and you think, yeah, I'll worry about that a bit later, but you never get around to dealing with it. But we are going to talk about that a little bit this afternoon. I just want to say hello to a few more people. Amanda's joined us, Daniel's watching, Craig's here as well, Raheem, Pardeep's joined us. Hi, good afternoon, Donna. Lovely afternoon working in the garden. Absolutely. We just seem to be going through this kind of roller coaster of weather at the moment, in terms of, it's nice, it's horrible, it's raining, it's thunder. But I'm hoping now, the good weather's going to be here to stay, because it's Matt's birthday on Sunday, and we've got a birthday meal booked out, which should be nice. And do you know what? I must admit, this is definitely, I know I talk about the Bournemouth bubble and things like that, but this really is a lovely place to live in, when the weather starts getting nice. We've got lots of outdoor kind of bars, restaurants, that type of thing. And the place that we're going on Sunday is the place that we tend to spend a lot of time over the summer. Very lovely outdoor eating area by the marina, and they do music and all this different type of thing. So it's our first trip there for this year for Matt's birthday. So hopefully it's going to be nice. Rosie says, hello, gorgeous people. Well, hello, gorgeous you. Ruth joins us on YouTube as well. So let us know any questions as we're going along. Just before we get started, because the good thing about obviously doing this group, making the posts that we do, sometimes it really, you can tell that there's a post when it really piques people's interest in terms of engagement, people asking questions, how do you do this, that type of thing. And one of the things I think over the last week that definitely piqued people's engagement was your palette of shame. So I want I want us to go through and talk about that. But obviously, if you've got any other questions, happy birthday, Rosie. Many happy returns. I hope you're doing something nice. Hope you're doing something you're enjoying, and enjoying the nice weather anyway. But yeah, so let us know in the comments, in particular, we're going to talk about returns for the first bit. What do you guys do with your returns? How do you deal with them? Do you do as I do, just stack them in the corner and kind of forget about them? What is the best way you guys deal with it? And by the way, I don't stack them in the corner and just forget about them forever, because that wouldn't be possible. I tend to I feel Matthew has more of a systemized approach, whereas I tend to deal with it when the pile gets so big you can't ignore it anymore, or kind of do it a little bit strategically, in the sense that we had a massive eBay Facebook marketplace clear out in Q4, which is obviously a very strategic time to do it, because that's when people are looking for that kind of things. But like I said, Matthew, it was your post that piqued everybody's interest. So if you want to kind of talk us through it, and what prompted it, what position you found yourself in. I mean, obviously, I presume it was prompted a little bit by the inventory situation anyway.
It happens. We do it periodically, so we don't write stuff off all the time. I'll tell you a bit about how our system works anyway, so it makes more sense. So basically, obviously, we send stuff to Amazon, as everyone does, and we send stuff to customers. Some stuff we don't get back because it's not worth it. If we sell something for £10 and the customer's broken it, it's not much point to getting it back. So we just tell them to keep it and refund them, and we put a write-off through our system. Now, what we do is we make an assumption that everything that comes back is sellable. Okay. And then what we then do is we go through these returns, and we then take out what isn't sellable, and then anything that isn't sellable then goes into public auction. So we write off the total cost of what isn't sellable. We then put it into public auction, and what we get for it is what we get for it. So in this instance, we wrote off 3,000. I think it's 3,400 at cost, and we got 677 back. So I can't quite remember the numbers about that back from auction. So roughly, I suppose it's about 20% of cost we got back. So yeah, but the thing is, it's part of business, isn't it? So it's just one of them things, and I just wanted to make people aware of it. And I think what's really, really important to take away from this is you've got to really work on your margins, because if you're not factoring in this loss, then of course I'm on a bigger scale, so my loss is bigger. But your loss may be the same percentage, but it's just not as much. So you're not kind of factoring that in. And if you're only working off 10% margin and you're getting 10% returns, are you actually making any profit at all?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think the thing is, it doesn't matter how big or small you are. And I feel like just, it's just one of these things that when you feel like you're talking about the same thing over and over again for like a period of time, it's like the hot topic. And for me, and I think it's just really relevant in my business at the moment, talking about compounding effects of everything at the moment. And it's not just compounding effects of profits. Compounding effects of losses are just as important, if not more important, because if you fall within the same habits over and over again and you're actually making a loss with certain things, you need to be able to put a stop to that. You need to be able to look at it and say, right, what's going on here, because I need to be able to change that, because otherwise you're just literally, it's the bucket and the hole situation, isn't it? Yeah, you're trying to fill a leaky bucket, and it just doesn't make sense to be able to do that. So when it comes to compounding, like I said, it's all very well to get into the attitude of, well, it's only just the one return, well, it could be 100 returns over the year, and each one of those could be worth £20 each, and that's £2,000 profit off of your bottom line at the end of the day. So
and then when you have a warehouse, you then not only are you losing money on the stock, but you're then adding cost on, because you're therefore taking up resource space to store returns, which aren't going to make any money anyway. So you're kind of adding cost onto cost.
Yeah, absolutely. Natalie's joined us from Cornwall, so sorry I'm late. That's all right. Don't worry about it. We forgive you. Someone has said, I think Pardeep said, how do you auction? So if you feel okay explaining that.
I'm happy to explain it. It's a bit of obviously you may have seen online, there's like different auctions that you can sell stuff into, people buy things from. I'm not talking about eBay, I'm talking about actual auctioneers. So you might have a local auctioneer. So how it works is you basically have to work a relationship with them, and then they put the stuff into auction. They charge the buyer a commission. They charge you a commission as a seller as well. Now, anybody can do it, but there was probably going to be a caveat from the auctioneer of how much they're going to accept as a minimum. It's got to be worth their time. So if you're saying, can I put my 3 things in? They're probably going to say no. The reason obviously it works for us is because we have enough stuff to make it worthwhile for them. But even then, we only do it once every 2 months. And we send like 2 pallets in. So, it's got to be kind of worthwhile for them as well. But yeah, anyone can do it. Just approach a local auction house. The smaller auction house probably more likely to take it. But another exit strategy is sort of like a car boot sale
guys,
as well.
I was going to say, don't be trying to go down Christie's or something like that. They're not going to be interested.
No. Yeah, so any kind of local auction house will probably might be interested in taking your returns. Or another option, particularly if you've got small amounts of stuff, is car boot sales. Great way to get rid of stuff with no kind of comeback. So eBay works for dealing with returns, but there's a massive problem with eBay in the sense that you have to honor the same consumer policy as you do when you sell anything on eBay. So people can buy a box of returns and then go, yeah, they're broken, they don't work, and send them back, because that's the consumer policy. So that's why I don't put them. I put damaged box stuff, unwanted returns on eBay, but anything that's faulty that I can't return to the supplier, perhaps it's been too long or it's been customer damaged or whatever, then that would go into a public auction.
Okay, so let's just track back a sec. So when the stock comes back from Amazon, presumably someone opens it up, and do you have different piles for like you say, when you come back, you just assume everything is workable? Do you test stuff? Do you open stuff up and say, right, okay, this is just a return that's got damaged? Do you have a section for stuff that you go after reimbursement from Amazon? Could you just break it down?
So we get returns about weekly because it helps us manage the volume. A problem, I think default it's monthly, which I think might be an issue because it tends to pile up too much. So we get weekly returns. So the return box would come into the business. Somebody would go through that returns box. They get the manifest, a little slip of paper. We check off everything. check always. So actually, before we do that, actually, we take pictures of boxes, okay? Because you need to make sure that if anything is missing or damaged, you've got proof that the boxes of the pictures of the box, and you also take a picture of the boxes and of the label on the box as well.
Yeah.
Then we open the box and we get the manifest out. We always keep all the manifests, and we keep them for years, not just like a day. We keep them for years. We still have them, so in case we ever need to refer back to them. So we keep the manifest. We check the manifest off against every item. So we make sure that every item that's in there is in there. Okay, that we should be, because the first thing, we have had stuff where people have been through the boxes and stolen items out of it. So we make sure that everything's in there. We then check that the items that have been returned are the same items that we sent in the first place. People have done switcheroos, i.e. they've sent their old broken one back and kept our new one. So obviously, if anything's either missing or been switcherooed, we would make a claim for it. What we then do is we then go onto the Amazon Fulfilled by Amazon reports, and we download the customer return reasons, because often the customers will leave you a reason, which is really, really helpful, because it tells you, generally speaking, why the customers have returned it. If somebody said, if the reason is not compatible, then we know that there's not a problem with the item, there's a problem with the customer, essentially. So we check the item, make sure it's all complete, and then we basically move it on to either relist it on Amazon as a used condition, or we'd move it onto eBay, onto our we've got two different eBays. We've got a clearance site and a main site as well. So we'd move it onto the clearance site if it wasn't good enough for Amazon. And then anything that's been deemed defective by the customer, we would then, if it was over a certain value, we would test. If something cost us £5, the time taken to test that item is not worth it. So we wouldn't test it. We just write that off and put that straight into auction, because it's just not worth our time. So there's another really, really important thing here, is the amount of time you take to deal with your returns, because time is money, and you're already losing money in these items, so you've got to make sure it's worthwhile. So we make a call based on the item on its value, and then we test it. If it's faulty and it's within warranty, we'd return it to the supplier. If it is out of warranty, or it comes down to time. If I bought it on a retail arbitrage trip and it's from one store that's in London, I'm not going to take that item back, so we'd write that item off. So again, it all comes down to your time. If something cost me £5 and the nearest store is 20 miles away, I'm probably not going to take that item back unless I'm happy to be going. Again, down to time, and then we'd write off the items that aren't sellable, put that loss through the books, and then again we put them into public auction as job lots, essentially. So some items would be singular if it was an expensive item, but most of them go into sort of mixed boxes, sort of standard Amazon size, I'd say, sort of like 42 by 42, and we just put lots of little bits in and sell them like that.
Oh, okay. So it's not like a pallet. It wouldn't like a pallet, or you could do a pallet, or you break them down.
Pallet. Yeah, you could either do it by the pallet, but we tend to do it by the box. We found that by the box is the best value. A pallet can be, the problem with pallets is it's great for buying returns, because you get a lot of returns, you're spreading your risk. But from a selling point of view, because I could potentially be putting, like I had £3,000 worth of stuff on a pallet. I could have loads of value on a pallet, and there's not always guaranteed you're going to get the value out of it, because people don't see the value of it. Because an auction, I remember an auction house is going to be super quick. They're just going to literally take a pallet, take a picture of the top, and that's it. And then they go a pallet of stuff. They might have a manifest, they might not. Again, if I do a pallet,
that's what I was going to ask.
Manifest. Yeah.
So when the customer, when the person at the auction house buys it, is it a Matthews mystery box, or do they know what they're getting?
So this is a reason we break it down into small boxes, because if the auction house take a picture of a small box, you can see everything that's in that box. Whereas if it's a pallet and they take a picture of the pallet, they're obviously only going to show you the top layer. So they could be missing loads of stuff underneath, or if they don't manifest it properly. Because if we did a pallet, we'd have to do a manifest to show what was in that pallet. Because if we don't describe what's in that pallet, people don't know what's in that pallet, and then we're not getting maximum value out of our returns.
No, that's a great tip. I've got to be honest, I didn't know you could do it by the box. I assumed it was by the pallet. And, that's absolutely right, because you're showing the value from that point of view, and then the person gets it and they know what they're getting. And then because I know in particular of, you know, the type of stuff that you get, that you sell, it's going to be, you know, good value, high value kind of stuff. So with regards to, we've had a few people come in. I'll just answer a few questions actually. Powell's joined us, Mark's joined us as well. Cindy says g'day. Kelly's joined us. Andy says I car boot sell most returns, but have a batch right now. I'm thinking of eBaying. Yes, I think I saw you were doing some car boots, Andy. And yeah, I know car boots are traditionally deemed to be sort of, you know, sort of tire kickers and things like that. But you actually rate car boots, don't you, Matt?
Yeah, buying and selling. I think they're really good. And another thing is it's a very raw type of selling. I think you learn a lot, whether you realize it or not. You learn a lot of negotiating and selling skills, and also you meet people and you make contacts. And like you might sell a car boot, and some guy goes, "Oh, well, I buy all these returns, or I also sell this stuff." Some of I've not had any of my suppliers I've met there, but I've met people who buy off me, and I've different contacts at car boot sales, and I bought things off people in the past, particularly when I started out. Yes, there's a lot of low value stuff. But if you're looking for a specific thing, if you ask people, they go, "Oh yeah, I do have this for sale, but I just didn't bring it because I didn't think it was worth money at the car boot sale." So there's a lot of deals that can be done after the car boot sale, not just at the car boot sale.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Andy said I made about 500 last car boot. Yeah, very nice. And I think when you do this type of thing, especially if you've come in through the arbitrage world, so that kind of seeing a bargain, looking at it, understanding the opportunity, flipping it on and making a profit, we all have that inner Del boy in us where, you know, we like doing a deal, we like doing a bit of negotiation or that type of thing. I know. And by the way, my post this morning about the perfume, that was my inner Del boy. So that was me like, oh, do I want to spend an extra 20 quid? But Hayden's comment did make me laugh because he was like, just buy it. And I was like, no, the post wasn't me, you know, really about me buying it. It was about, you know, that compounding effect of bad buying decisions or strategic buying decisions, essentially. But yeah, my inner Del boy definitely comes in and, you know, sort of like says, oh, I want to get the best possible deal ever. So if you do like, you know, bartering, if you are that type of person that likes asking for discounts, that likes asking for the best possible price, then a car boot sale is definitely going to be the place to do it. Yeah, for sure. Afternoon, Harminder. Oh yeah, it came up on Natalie says it came up on YouTube, that's why I couldn't see it. I don't use a prep center but would like to do that later on to systemize everything. Do you know if prep centers deal with returns? Well,
I've never used a prep center, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's very much on a case-by-case basis. You would need to have a conversation with the prep center in regards to, you know, what they do. The majority of prep centers will have returns coming back to you. So you can do it a couple of ways. You can put whatever dress you want for your Amazon removals. So some people don't have them going back to the prep center because they want to try and resell them themselves, maybe on eBay or different types of, you know, Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree, on, you know, any of the other different types of selling sites that you can send them. So you can divert the returns, will come to you directly, or you can divert them to your prep center, and then your prep center can sort of package them up and send them to you in one go. I'm just talking about what we used to do at Easy Prep. So, you know, obviously you will need to speak to each individual one, but obviously do bear in mind, and this is what people don't understand. And I'm going to take the side of the prep center here a little bit because people, when it comes to returns to prep centers, people are a bit like, oh, what, you charge to receive returns? Oh, I don't want to pay for that. And the thing is, what people don't realize is it's exactly the same process receiving a return as it is receiving goods to send to Amazon. And, you know, it's mirroring that exact process. You have to receive the goods, you have to open the goods, you have to check the goods, you have to check the goods in, you have to let the customer know the goods have arrived, probably in what condition, take pictures, as Matthew has said, as the manifest, the white slip, the box, you know, all of these different types of things. Then, depending on what the customer wants with that particular return, you might have to send it to them, which actually is a lot more hassle than prepping an item to send it to Amazon, because you might have to book it in for individual delivery, send it to the customer, and then people moan about being charged the same amount that you're charged for sending a SKU into Amazon. So, by the way, that wasn't directed at you, Natalie. It was just, it came up. So I just wanted to take the side of the prep center there, because, you know, free returns, if you can get a prep center to do that, fantastic. And I think most people do offer pre-returns, but if you want something special, don't have a go at the prep center, because, you know, at the end of the day, it is exactly the same process to be able to handle returns as it is to have the goods sent into Amazon. So I just wanted to clarify that. But most prep centers will deal with it. There will be some prep centers that will be happy for you to list it on eBay, and they'll send it once it's sold. It, you know, really does depend on the prep center.
I mean, there is another option as well. I mean, Amazon do disposals. So Amazon have they have two types. Obviously, they have the disposal where they just literally dispose of it, and they also have a recovery disposal scheme. I don't know if anyone's seen that, where they will, I think they either sell them on like to public auctions and stuff, and they give you like a set percentage back. So you're going to get a very small return. But if you've got enough margin and you're not bothered about your returns and you just want rid of them, then it might be the easiest solution to deal with them. Just get rid of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think to be, you know, to be honest with regards to, oh, sorry, is that me?
No, sorry, laughing.
Oh, sorry. No, I thought it was fine. I thought it was Matt trying to call me again. Oh, okay, sorry. Sorry about that. Right. I can't remember what I was saying anyway. So Andy says there's a particular seller who buys all his Lego and Doctor Who stuff, which is good. And you've got to remember, guys, and I've always said this about there's different type of selling opportunities always in different scenarios. So this was always something I talked about on the arbitrage side of things. And, you know, in particular, stuff that is limited edition or you can't get hold of, you know, just because Smiths decides to stop selling it because Disney, for instance, no longer make that series, it doesn't mean just because Smiths stopped selling it or is not interested in selling it that we're not interested in selling it, because there's always a market, and Smiths only appeals to, you know, a smallish kind of audience, very niche audience, whereas most of us can sell, you know, internationally. Most of us can sell, you know, on Amazon, which has a much further reach and is the kind of place that people will go to look for harder to find stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, and if you've got someone ordinarily that's interested, you know, they're specialists. If you ever put any sort of relatively good condition new Lego on Facebook Marketplace, you will get people biting your hand off it for probably a good level of profit that you can make on it yourself, because you have specialist Lego dealers, you have specialist toy dealers, you have, you know, all of these different type of specialists. So absolutely, we've had people, you know, at Christmas where we were selling off some cosmetic damage toy stuff, not suitable for Amazon, but, you know, could be sold through other means. We 100% had people, you know, messaging us saying, oh, can I have the 6 of those? Can I have this? And, you know, because I'm nosy, I always say, oh, you're a reseller. And straight away I could hear like the fear via their message typing out, where some people go, oh, is that a problem? I'm like, no, resellers welcome here. Definitely come and pick it up, take it off my hands for sure. So understanding that is definitely that there's different sellers and different areas is you know, you can always sell to someone for sure. Rosie says some auction houses will separate into single items if requested. I know Wilson Auctions do, as a lot of eBay sellers buy their stuff you know, from auction houses. Angela said, I had 2 switcheroos this month, on a beauty advent calendar, cost £120, an electrical item which has been switched for used. I didn't keep the box or take the photos of these, which is annoying, as this is now the sticking point. So keep everything as Matt has just said. Yeah, that white little flip.
Because they will just say, important. Oh, send us a picture of the box, and now you go binned it, and then they go, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's literally what happens. And there's no reason for them to deny your request, but they do. They'll use anything they can to get out of it.
Oh, absolutely. We've talked about this extensively. I talked about it with Matt, talked about it with Luke, talked about it with other sellers, that were around, sort of 5-6 years ago with selling on Amazon. There was a time where you'd literally say to them, right, that cost me 30 quid. You guys have lost it, or it didn't come back, or someone switched through it. And, they would send you the money straight away. Now you got to fight for, everything. But, the more evidence that you have, yes, they will still, we're not saying that just because you've got it all, that'll be it, and you still have to fight, but you have a much better chance of succeeding for sure. Brian says mine does. This was talking about the prep centers. They take returns for £1 an item. Wow, that's gone up. They'll send you back or pass on to you, or you can list on eBay. Send back to you in bulk for other items. It's been a long time since it's been out prep centers, so I don't really know. Yvonne's joined us as well. Afternoon, Yvonne. Do you have some kind of paper trail for selling at the car boot sale, or do you just put the money in the bank and say car boot sales? That's from Cindy.
Yeah, so this is why I write off all my items individually. So effectively, so obviously it comes in, it's on stock, it's booked into the system on stock. It sells, it gets returned. So it's therefore still in the system. We write that item off as if it's gone, it's broken, it's not coming back. We then sell it the car boot stuff for whatever we get, and then obviously we put all the money in the bank and just call it, like you say, we raise an invoice for car boot sale on the 17th of May, and then we just pay the VAT on the sale proceeds. So that's how we manage it.
Cool, very simple. Natalie says my plan is to move to Spain one day, so I wouldn't want to be dealing with returns when I'm in a different country. Yeah, get into the habit of kind of doing that now, depending on how far that goal or dream is in the future. Definitely what I would say is you don't want to move to Spain on Thursday and start using a prep center on Wednesday. So, I would definitely start the process maybe 3 months beforehand, possibly a little bit more than that, just to check that you've got everything in place. Because when you move to a different country, you want to absorb things. It's going to be a big change anyway. You want to make sure that all your ducks are in a row before you move over, because day one when you're in Spain, soaking up the atmosphere, enjoying the fiesta, you don't want to be having to worry about prep center shenanigans.
No.
It's for sure. Bailey the Husky Pup has joined us on I don't know who it is, just that's all I got. The Husky Pup's joined us on YouTube, and they've said the liquidation option on return only gives around 5%.
Yes, about 5%. Yeah.
So it's only good if you need to get rid and take the loss. Could you explain that?
Yeah, so I think they give you 5% of, is it sale or cost? So if you're selling something for £10, you'd get 5% back, and then Amazon basically take that item off your inventory and deal with it for you as it returns. So it's very effective as an option if you've got massive margins and very low value items where there's no resale value anyway. But obviously, hopefully, if you factor that in, I mean, we did toy with the idea. We couldn't get it to work with the high ticket, but of being in a business where everything that was returned, we just wrote off. And we didn't deal with it because our focus was on selling and not on dealing with returns. But the loss would have been too big. But if you're selling really low value items, beauty products that have no resale, something like that, then might be well worth considering that and just making sure that you factor in your margins. So you say you add 60% on, 10% is going to get written off. So really your margin's 50, but you've already covered that in your purchase decisions. It can be a good strategy for managing the business.
Sounds complicated, and sounds like, as per Natalie's request, which I didn't read out earlier, maybe we need to have some sort of session on this. It's the sort of thing that you don't learn, and especially if you're the front end of the business as well. I've always talked about, Matt deals with the back end of the business. He deals with, the financial stuff, the accounting, and everything like that. So I deal with the creative, the sourcing, the listing, all of what I consider to be the fun stuff. I suppose it depends which way you look at it. Some people prefer, dealing with.
I'm more a spreadsheet. I'm an analytical guy. I'm not creative at all. I can't even draw a stick figure. That's how bad my drawing is.
No, see, that's interesting, and I'm going off on a digressing here, I'm afraid. But this is why I was especially when I talk to people about creating their own opportunities. And one of the biggest bottlenecks, one of the biggest sort of barriers straight away is people say, I'm just not a creative person. And, creative skills don't necessarily mean that you have to be able to freehand, draw a life drawing or something like that. It's not necessarily you're artistic. People seem to, get it confused with creative and artistic, and those are not the same at all. And it's amazing. Before I was creating my own products, I always used to refer to myself as not a creative person until I started doing it and actually realized it's not necessarily artistic flair and that type of thing is an extra, but creativity doesn't necessarily mean that. So it's really, really don't ever let that put you off of creating your own opportunities, because everybody has an inner creative. Some people have it in different ways, but it's whether it's the forming of the product or the presentation of the product. You don't need to be Da Vinci to get involved in creating your own products, and you can outsource most of it anyway. If you were really bad, you could outsource it all. So it's fine, or that side of it anyway. Yes. So answer that bit. Yeah, I think Cindy said I'm not that organized, especially with bundles and bits of bundles. That's probably.
Can I just say that it's really, really important to get it right now, because if like you said about the leaky bucket, the as you grow, that problem grows with it. So what becomes not really a big issue can become a massive issue, because it's just going to pile up and pile up and pile up.
Yeah, it's amazing actually, and it's only when, and I'm so grateful, that we do these type of things, and for the group and the posts that spawned this kind of conversation, albeit it's taking up most of the session. But I think absolutely it's one of those things that people don't realize how important it is to business and what type of impact it has. So maybe we can persuade Matthew to do something in a bit more detail, creating like a process or something like that, where you guys will be able to just copy it essentially.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what you want.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? Lots of people talk about how great Amazon is and how much you can sell, but then there's kind of the other side that nobody's talking about, but it's an issue and it needs to be addressed. And if it isn't dealt with honestly and properly, then you can't have a successful business without considering all elements of the business.
Yeah, absolutely. It reminds me of the saying, which I am massively guilty of, by the way, so I don't want anyone to think I'm being a hypocrite by saying this. What's that phrase where if you want to get healthy, you want to get fit, you can't out-train a bad diet? And it's a bit similar to that. So if you say, oh, just sell through it. Well, yes, you probably can for a period of time. And that will be, especially when you see troubles with growth and scaling. That's when you'll encounter those type of things the most. So for the people, and undoubtedly, I've had this conversation with many people. I know many of you watching it will have it, where we all get to a point in our business where you think, oh, I can't grow. Why am I not growing? What's going on here? And it generally comes down to one of few reasons. It could be cash flow. It could be, your bottom line. You've got a leaky bucket, kind of, all these different types of things. So definitely want to cover that as much as possible. So Bailey the Husky Pup says that would be really useful. I'm just going through some bad purchasing and purging industry, and that's clocking up the space. The best cost-effective way to sort this would be great. So a few other people saying yes, please, for sure. Andrew's joined us on Facebook. Welcome, Andrew. And Andrew said, off topic, can I ask what current thinking is about RA, especially margins? Is the model still working? Been scanning for a few days with little success, and I'm just wondering if it's me, Andrew.
All right,
you're the best person to answer that.
I've been out for the past 2 weeks. I've spent 10 grand in the past week on RA stuff. At least 100% margin, double up. Sort of. I bought a couple of lines. One line was $39.99 cost, which we should be selling for about $150. Another line was 20, which we should get 75 back on. And we bought loads of units of them, so we spent over 10 grand in the past 2 weeks. Yeah, the RA definitely works. What I will say though, I have noticed there's a lot less stock out there. The margins are there, but there's a lot less stock. So whereas 3-4 years ago, I would have potentially spent double that or got twice as many units. There's less stuff out there, but there's more. I think there's actually higher margins at the moment because people perhaps aren't going out and looking for it because they're under the misconception that there isn't anything available. I actually think the opportunity is bigger at the moment because there's so much supply shortage everywhere. Our retail stores have pockets of stock. A good example is I went to one store in Northampton last week and they had 40 of this particular item. And that was more in one spot than in anywhere else in the country that I now can sell on Amazon, and no one's selling it on Amazon. So it's kind of like little pockets of stock I've noticed. So yeah, it definitely still works.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing as well. It's if you go to your kind of regular places, where I know you go to all the regular places as well, Matthew, but you do it in a very more strategic way. So what I would say, just to add to that, I definitely wouldn't encourage any type of what I call kamikaze RA, where you just go in and you're just scanning, because there are millions of products in shops, and especially if you're going into a supermarket or something like that, then what you'll find yourself in a position, especially depending on how new a seller you are, you might be like, okay, gated, not suitable, that type of thing. So whilst you're getting used to it, I would say just go and take some pictures of the shelves, come back, do the research from the comfort of your home, see if you can identify something. Then when you identify something, plan it out. Just don't go and pick it up from the one shop. See how many shops have got it in your local area. How far are you prepared to go? All of these different types of things. So I absolutely know the guys that are strategically doing RA at the moment are killing it, specifically for the reason that Matt has said. There are sort of shortages on stuff at the moment, and you've got to remember, in this type of business where there's abundance of stuff, the lowest hanging fruit, that's where you're going to get the most saturation. The harder stuff that takes that little bit more effort, it's going to take you more effort, but the reward's going to be so much bigger. And I've got, this is why I want people to realize that in business, not everything's easy. Well, nothing's easy.
No.
And if it is, it's probably not going to make any money.
Yeah, it's probably not worthwhile. Yeah, absolutely. I've got another reason I think there's different pockets of stock is because there's the wagon driver shortage. I was chatting to somebody in a store and they said if they've got 5 lorries, then they'll basically send all the stock to one place rather than whereas in the past they would distribute it. So there's massive opportunity out there. And I mean, I think if people want me to put some training together, I'm happy to do that, because I don't leave my chair until I know that I've got at least $1,000 worth of retail. I don't go out just scanning. I don't leave the place, especially with fuel costs. Fuel costs are through the roof. So I only leave on an RA chip if I'm certain of what I'm picking up. I mean, okay, there's a risk it could go before I get there, but that's the only risk. I know it's there.
So that's interesting, because I know that there are things that we all do specifically that I know that there are a lot of interest in that are maybe not talked about. I mean, I've never ever really heard somebody talk in depth about RA and the strategies and everything that are related to that. So if anyone is interested, I know that it's something, maybe you'd kind of thought about doing in the past or something like that, but obviously there'd have to be a bit of interest for Matthew to be involved, for him to do it, because one, it's his kind of strategies on doing it, his plan, his things. I mean, it's, by the way, I'm not talking about any type of course or anything like that. We're not going to
not an RA course,
release like a £2,000 RA course or anything like that, but I'm just sort of like thinking it's one of those type of things that maybe just to get people out and about trying it, mixing it into their business. If maybe there was something like a one-off training session or something like that, that Matt could be compensated for his time. If people will be interested in that, then let us know in the comments, because there has to be interest in it, obviously, for Matthew to put the time and effort into making it. So let us know in the comments if that's something that people will be interested. A few people said yes. A few people, Andrew says top advice. Andy said, by the way, were those RA buys normal price, discounted, clearance, the ones that you were talking about in particular?
I only do clearance. I know people do
full price replans.
Full price replans. I do clearance. That's my bag. And I tend to just get in, get out, move on to the next thing. That's how I work. Nothing wrong with the replans. Nothing wrong with. In fact, replans as a business is better because you get one product line, then you can keep reselling it. If anything, my way is not the right way, but that's just how I do it. Is I get in, I get all, and I get out, and then I come back in 3 months' time when there's something else on sale.
Yeah, absolutely. Rosie's comment wins the day. A look through the keyhole of Matt's empire. I love it. Yeah, lots of interest on that for sure. I just want to go back, and there was a question I think I missed. I think it was just Cindy saying about, especially for us, so many of us is Amazon is as a first business. And that's, I think, something that people forget. Because when you start Amazon, and I've talked about this for a really long time, when I've talked about Amazon in the past, we were very lucky. I've been running businesses for 10, 15 years before we'd even started Amazon. Processes have been set up, systems have been put in place. I know it was your first business. Oh no, you were on eBay first, weren't you?
Yeah, eBay first. Yeah.
And, but for the majority, probably 95% of people out there that join Amazon business, it is their first kind of, venture into business. And I think sometimes when you focus on the front end of things, which is what I tend to do, we kind of forget about that back end stuff. And, Matthew, when we created this group from the start, that's why we thought we were going to be a good combination for everyone, because Matthew's definitely more of a systems and processes guy as me.
All about the back end. I build the back end and then put the front end on, rather than building the front end and then go, oh, how are we going to do the back end?
Absolutely. Whereas I'll spend 10 minutes trying to move like the letter E. Does it look just right in that position? Definitely. We will try and facilitate as much as possible as we want to. This group was designed, that's the beat, the heartbeat of why the group was formulated in the first place, to support as many people and help many people to succeed as possible. That's a genuine intention where this group was formulated from. Apologies if I missed a question. Brian said, I used to love RA, but got out of it during COVID. That happened to a lot of people as well. Used to scan for hours in one store. And then once I'd found target products, I'd go around every branch and clear them out, or maybe leave one or two on the shelf. Right. This is interesting. I'll come back to that, in a moment.
Share the secrets.
Yeah. Who said a pantomime horse? Yeah, I'm definitely the front end. But yes, what was I going to say? How does everyone feel about this? See, I was the same as Brian. I want to hear your thoughts, Matt. I want to hear everyone else's comments on this. I always left one or two on the shelf. And I know other people, it's like 50-50. People are like, no, clear them out. But I always used to leave one on the shelf, because I always used to leave it as like he said, once you got to the till at that point, and if someone said, oh, what are you doing? Kind of thing. Oh, you're clearing us out. And I say, oh, no, I've left some, for other people, kind of thing. It's like a good talking point to be able to do it. Or if you get accosted by the manager on the way out, I said, look, I've left some, go and check. And then when they go and check, you can run out the store.
Yeah, literally the same. Yeah. And the amount of time as well, it's the staff. Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, I really want one of them. So there's some on the shelf. Yeah. And then they don't feel they're not arsy with you because you're not taking everything and they wanted one. That's when I think they get a bit shirky with you, when they wanted it and they're annoyed they missed it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the thing is, I love Hanson's one. I'm going to steal that one. Leave one for good luck. It's good karma, isn't it? And Bailey the Husky pup. Sorry, I'm laughing at that because I'm the only one that can see the comment. They said, and there's an element of this truth as well, but if they're not reselling, it's okay to leave a damaged one, because most people aren't bothered about damaged
I always leave the damaged ones anyway.
Yeah, so Bailey the Husky
I leave a damage behind.
Yeah, said, no, I wipe them out, but I only leave damaged items. A few years ago, this is just one of those little stories, and it made me feel really good. This was when cars, the the Disney film was really popular. And if anyone remembers selling those cars, and when Jackson Storm came out, they were die-cast cars. And for every box of 100, there was like 2 Jackson Storm, I think they were called, in every box. They were so rare. We actually used to import them from the US and sell them here. We managed to find a supplier through eBay, funnily enough, and support, bring all the cars in and sell them. But we used to go hunting in Tesco, Asda, Sainsbury's, Smith, or, for these Jackson Storms, because they had like literally 20 quid profit in each one. And we were in Tesco's. I think it might have been Smith's one day. And, the manager would go up on the ladders and I'd say, can we have the Jackson Storms out of the box? And they'd pull them out, pile up the trolley. And there was this little boy once, and he was like looking at our trolley, and he was like sort of pointing, and I knew what he wanted. And this might have been before I had my second child and softened up a bit more. Yes, I think it was. Oh no, I think I was pregnant at the time, so I'll blame that. And literally the little boy was pointing at it, and I was like, looked at the mother, and I was like, does he want a Jackson Storm? And she was like, oh, we've been looking for one for ages. And I was like, here you go. Kind of thing. So you've always got to do the right thing. I believe in karma, and what goes around comes around.
Sure. Definitely.
But yeah, everyone's saying they leave at least one. Yeah, well, that's good to know. Apart from Bailey the husky pup, who only leaves the damaged one. But we'll let you have that for sure. But yeah, okay. So RA, we'll definitely look into that then. Matthew, you've been charged with a challenge there of maybe putting something together to give people, because I think especially a lot of people did get out of it over COVID, and I think especially with challenging times potentially coming as well. So yes, there could be, especially when the stock shortages as well.
Yeah.
Of course,
anyone with limited capital as well, it's better. You're getting higher margin return.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's good to margin mix with stuff if you can. If you can bring an element. I know dozens and dozens of people that had an element of RA in their business, probably 20% of their business that was wiped out when COVID hit, and they just haven't got back into doing it. So if you can margin mix and bring that higher margin stuff back in, I think it will help with bottom line for sure, and maybe get some of those margins improved.
And it's summer supposedly, so it's nice to get out in summer. It's summer, so it's nice to get out in summer.
I was always a fair weather RA. I don't do anything. I don't do the school run in the rain. I'm certainly not going to go out, filling trolleys and lugging boxes in the rain for sure. Chris said, I told the till staff that anyway. Oh, where did that? I must have missed a comment. Oh, I'm not sure. Oh, I wonder if Chris is Bailey the husky pup. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
Just confirm, baby. It's joined us on Facebook now. Pardeep said, my IPI score keeps dropping. Should I just delete my inventory once it's sold out, or do I have to wait 30 days? To be perfectly honest, if you delete it, it'll find its way back into stranded anyway, to be perfectly honest. So I certainly wouldn't leave it 30 days. I would try and kind of narrow down that window a little bit more. I wouldn't, if it sold at 2:00 on Tuesday, I wouldn't delete it at 2:01 on Tuesday, but maybe leave it a few days just to check that the order goes through. I think once it's been dispatched, then that's probably the best way to do it. Oh no, Chris is not Bailey the husky pup. Ooh, I don't know where that. Oh right, I think Chris was maybe just saying. I don't know. Thanks for commenting anyway. So yeah, get rid of that. IPI is one of those type of things that it only really impacts people around Christmas. So
and if is it a 500? Is that the limit now? Still, has it changed?
No, I think it's gone below that.
I think it's 450. 450 now. So I mean, unless you're under 450, you're getting close to 450. I wouldn't really worry about it.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm just checking now what the IPI is.
I'm pretty sure it's 450, and then it works in a way that you have to be, what they do is they give you a quarter's grace as well. So if you do kind of dip below it, they don't tend to restrict you. They do 2 checks throughout the quarter. So they let you know kind of halfway through where you're at, give you an opportunity to correct it. And the difference with, oh no, it's 400. There we go.
Is it 400?
Yeah, it's 400. Yeah, I can't remember what it dropped to, whether it was 400 or whatever. But at the same time, I feel they dropped the IPI, but it's not as harsh as it was anyway. So I feel that they were, a little bit more leeway. But in terms of, just tightening up on everything, sell through is going to be the biggest thing. Sell through will always be, the biggest impact on any type of FBA stock that's being held in Amazon. I've always said it's not storage by Amazon, it's fulfilled by Amazon. They want the stock in, they want the stock out. So I would really concentrate on ensuring that you are really trying to stick to as that 60-day selling cycle as much as possible. That Amazon want the stock in, they want the stock out. They don't really want goods being kind of kept beyond that. That will affect your restock limits anyway as well. But, concentrate on sell through more. Can you margin mix? Can you look at stock? This isn't the busiest time of year on Amazon. So this
we were discussing, last week weren't we, about the strategy of holding stock and how you buy stuff now to sell it in 3 months' time. Again, if you're doing that, I would advise you get some sort of external storage. It doesn't need to be a warehouse, just like a storage container, and you don't send it in. If you're not going to sell it, because that will affect the IPI.
Oh, absolutely. Anything, any little thing where the stock is being held and Amazon cannot get it out, cannot get their FBA fee, cannot get the referral fee, is going to be, looked at detrimentally. So, make sure you're always checking that. It's why, someone mentioned it earlier about having a bit of a purge of stock. I know I bang on about profit margins, that type of thing, but I'm still a believer in a bit of a purge every now and again, really looking into, is price going to recover? Is it going to take too long? Okay, well, it might, if there's not any type of loss and you can cover your VAT cost, that type of thing, it might actually be worth getting rid of it at this stage in order to flip it back in to get some new stuff, to get the kind of Amazon selling machine rolling again. And because it is like a big cycle, what goes in should go out, that type of thing. So it's always important to make sure you guys are doing that as much as possible. If there's one thing Amazon doesn't like, stock sat on the shelves. For sure.
Doesn't like
that. Natalie says, I live in Cornwall, so I'll say I run a holiday home, although I don't when I buy a large amount of something. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do a post at some point. I want the best excuses people give for, why they're buying lots of stock. I've heard some, good ones over the years to kids entertainers, magicians. People come up with my go-to one was 9 nephews. I've got 9 nephews, which I always liked because it's 100% true. I've got 9 nephews, but some of them were in their 20s at that point. So, but it's that's information they didn't know. So I wasn't lying. I was omitting. I
often just say it's for business. It's for the business. I don't be more specific than that. It's for the business.
9 nephews. It's like Shrek.
It's like it's like it's not the full truth, but it's not a lie.
Yeah,
I would never lie. I don't think I'd ever lie. I'd always be honest. I'd never say because people go, oh, it's for charity. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that.
Yeah, no, mine definitely is like, it's like retail arbitrage Tourette's. They'd say, oh, you've got a lot of stock. I said, yeah, I've got 9 nephews. And they'd be like, oh, okay, well, that's plausible. That's fine. It's whatever. They haven't asked me what I'm doing with the stock. I've just got 9 nephews. That's it. And it is true for sure. And I think I might have, I got more now? I can't remember. Well, I've got a niece now. But, 9 nephews sounds better for sure. Didn't work with Barbies though. Couldn't say it then. Then I would just look like I had Tourette's for sure. Oh, Amanda, good question. That is a really good question. I'm going to come on that in a moment.
Is it set times? Is it just as and when they're full?
Well, they
tend to do it at the end of Q3, don't they? Pretty consistently.
Well, they always did it twice a year. So they always used to do it twice a year. They would do it once in the spring and then once just before Q4, around the end of August, probably beginning of September, something like that. And then they would do it early on, probably February. So it was always just before, storage limits. Storage charges. But obviously they don't do that by, twice in the year now anyway. Storage charges is after 12 months. We haven't seen free removals. Can anyone remember when the last free removals was?
Let me check my email now.
That's the challenge. We haven't seen them, I don't think, for... Bailey's coming out with some good comments today. I'm just going to call you Bailey, not the husky pup. Saying about purge, but saying the worst is when you have 50 sets of headphones and all you can think is, I run a call center. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. Natalie said, I have to say I'm taking toys, so I'm taking them out the Christmas to my Spanish family. There we go.
The last one I can see in my emails was August 2021.
That feels about right. I don't think we've had one.
Maybe that looks about right, as in the pre kind of Q3 summer clearance. It was a bit different last year because they had more last year because they had the whole restock issue, didn't they? I don't know if you're going to get them this year because last year Amazon was rammed, wasn't it? And there was the restocks, and no one could send anything in. They've obviously addressed that now, and now they've got surplus capacity. So maybe they're not going to give you free removals because they don't need the space. I imagine they'll give free removals when they need the space.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, they used to do it regularly. I'm going to disagree with you, Matt. I think they are going to do it again this year, and I think it will be around August, ready for that kind of around August is when, well, depending on what happens, with lockdowns and, where's Sean when you need him? He'll be like, oh my God, they're talking about lockdowns. Amazing. With the shortages and supply issues and things like that at the moment, possibly, you could be right, may not be this year. Ordinarily, we normally see it in August, is because August and September is the busiest time within the Amazon fulfillment centers to receive goods from China, and the Far East. And that's when the big containers come in, people stocking up for Q4, stocking up for Christmas. So I think we will still see that this year, but I don't know if it will be so compounded into the August, September time, purely because people are going to get the stock when they get the stock this year. There's no doubt about that. I'm not going to be pulled into talking about Q4. I'm not quite there yet. I have got my thoughts about what Q4 will be this year, but I'm not going to get pulled into that yet. We will start talking about it soon, definitely over probably like next month or something, but not quite yet.
I tend to prep for Q4 about August.
Yeah, for sure. Hanson said, I'm waiting for Amazon to slash fees in half so I can take advantage of that extra space. Might be waiting a little while for sure. Jamie said, I got asked at a checkout in Tesco. I bought loads of Nerf guns and told her it was for a lad's party. Yeah, absolutely. There's some really creative ones for sure. Someone's joined us late to the party. Paul. Sorry, Paul, we're going to be going off in a minute, but you're welcome to, watch it back. Don't be late next time. 1:00, Tuesday. We don't get it. We don't get any. My brain today is just not working at all. I was going to say something, and I was going to say, we don't get any rewards for being late. And I thought, oh no, that sounded a bit rude. So yeah, sorry. I didn't mean it like that. Natalie says, Bailey, you could say the headsets are for your business and they're all working from home. So yeah, I think now, I don't know. A lot of the time, I think when people are asking about stuff, I think, oh, why are you so nosy? And then I think, do you know what? If I was sat there on till, I would ask. So I would be proper nosy, and I would be like, oh, what are they for? I know I would be.
Another thing, I think as well, people, there's a theft risk. You must remember, I used to work in retail, and where they kept banging about theft, and somebody filling a trolley, it looks dodgy. So honestly, so I say sometimes you just got to be honest, because they're not trying to stop you reselling. They're worried that you're buying it on a stolen credit card, or dodgy vouchers, or you're just going to run off with it. So that's part of the reason they stop you.
I always get really, I don't know what it was, probably because we were in stores a lot doing RA, because when we first started selling on Amazon, probably 80% of our business at the very start of it was RA, because that was the model that was probably the most popular at the time. It had come over from America, definitely. And I think Americans, the arbitrage model was definitely American, in the US first. And even when you see people selling in the US now, I would say, the RA model, that replen shopper model, that is definitely still way more popular over there than it is here, for sure. And I was used to be around shoplifters a lot, in the sense that when we were always in there was someone, like a big group of people that would come in and do strategic, Lego shoplifts and things like that. And it always used to fascinate me, because the staff used to chase after them and that type of thing. Whereas I think, oh my God, I wouldn't chase after them. Well, I wouldn't be able to catch them anyway, but I wouldn't chase after them. And I think I always used to say to people, the staff, I was like, why do you chase them? And they were like, oh, we hate it, and I think, well, it's really dangerous. Why would you put yourself in that position? But they've obviously a lot more courage than I have. I don't know, or maybe I don't know. I just think about it from that respect. But yeah, I can see why. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Any other questions? Let us know. So Matthew Bailey, the Husky Pup, asks, you must have had the 20
meter till roll, I think.
Oh,
yeah, no.
Comments.
I can see the comments, yeah.
Oh, I always read out the YouTube ones, so I don't think you can see them.
I can see the YouTube comments, yeah.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, I'll shut them. Yeah.
I can see the same as you. They can't see them on the Facebook, though, can they? Because not on the
someone's
Facebook.
about to ring my doorbell. So.
Oh, okay. So no, I'm not from Tesco, but I did. I don't know if anyone remembers Office Outlet, which was Staples. We bought an entire store once, and the receipt was longer than the shop from end to end.
Wow. Yeah.
It was a huge, huge receipt. I'll see if I can put a picture up later in the group.
Make sure you take photographs of the receipts, guys, because that ink on personal receipts does fade.
Oh yeah, always scan. We scan every single one in. I'll put this in the drop and the training. Actually, what I do is I just scan them all immediately with my phone when I get them, and then you're not worried about losing them, getting them damaged. There's about time you put them in a bag, and then you pull some out of the bag, and it rips them in half, and all the rest of it. So yeah, I scan them in as soon as I get them.
I'm laughing because there's someone at my door. There's no one here but me. But he can clearly hear me talking. All my doors are open and I'm not answering the door. He must think, what a weirdo. Who is she talking to? Oh, he's gone now. He managed to squeeze it through the letterbox, I think. Classic Amazon orders again, no doubt. Yeah, good to take a photo of the receipt with RA just in case Amazon say they're fake. Absolutely, for sure. Because yeah, like I said, it's one of those things you really don't think about, but it's like because it's like carbon printing,
paper,
is it?
Yeah, thermal paper into it on, yeah.
Yeah, and it just fades, especially with any type of heat, sun, or anything like that whatsoever. Matthew, you are very organized.
You should see my desk if you think that's organized, but yeah, okay. I think there's a certain natural level of organization.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah,
hang on, there you go. This is my to-do paperwork stack.
Oh,
that's my organization. Yeah, not great.
I've got a pile of stuff. Yeah, with me, I'm a notebook ninja, so I write everything in notebooks. But then I don't finish a notebook in the sense that I write stuff as where I am in the house, and there's notebooks listed, kind of all over the house or in the office or whatever, and I write stuff down. But then what will happen is I won't stick to the same notebook. I'll go and then I have to look through and say, oh, okay, I had to do that. Right, where's that in what notebook? And so I'm trying to be more organized in that respect, for sure. Right, well, we didn't get to talk about much else in terms of returns.
No, we didn't, did we?
No, well, we did, because we ended up talking, accidentally about retail arbitrage as well. So guys, if you do get the opportunity, please make sure you go out, but do it in a strategic way. Don't go around just scanning, because it is the easiest way to get frustrated in terms of selling on Amazon. I just don't know anyone I think could just stand there. And the thing is, you really could be in a position where you scan 100 products before you come across anything that's remotely interesting, at all. So make sure you do it in the most strategic way as possible, for sure. So yeah, we talked about returns. We talked about RA. What we do is we'll roll a couple of things over till next week. Matthew, you're not here next week. You are off living your best life. Do you want to tell everyone what you're doing, or is it a secret?
No, it's not secret. I am
pretty fabulous, guys.
It's pretty fabulous. Yeah, we are off to Barcelona. We've got a villa over there, and we are going to the Grand Prix on Sunday.
Yeah, it's interesting. Who's your hot tip to win? I don't know anything about.
I don't know. Do you know what? I'm quite into Formula One, but I don't really know who to support. It's not quite like the same as like football. You don't kind of have like a team to support. Any advice on who to support? Like Ferrari are doing pretty well, but then McLaren's like a British team, so do a support McLaren, but then they're not really winning. And then there's Red Bull, but then I don't know who to support. Genuinely torn.
Wasn't there was big dramas at the end of the season last year, wasn't there, between Verstappen and
Hamilton.
And did he or didn't he win? And Verstappen, and should he or shouldn't he have won? And do you know what's really interesting? Actually, I really like. I know he's not everyone's cup of tea, but Lewis Hamilton does say some really kind of good stuff, motivational stuff in the way that he talks. I actually watched his Mastermind on the Mastermind app, and that was really good. That was really, it was one that I really didn't think I would enjoy watching, but I did. But I tend to watch quite a lot of, it's weird. I tend to be not a sporting person at all. I enjoy watching sport, but I tend to get drawn towards sporting documentaries, sporting motivation, that type of thing, because whilst most people get drawn towards business stuff, I think when it comes to the sports people, their level of dedication, determination, motivation, self-motivation, goal setting, I think they've actually got the highest level of that. And I really like to hear people's thought process, especially about being in the moment, that type of thing, because I'm someone that tends to be able to focus on the now. And, a lot of sports people have that ability to focus on the task in hand, get it done instead of living in the future, that type of thing. So it's always interesting if you get the opportunity to listen to any sort of sports people, successful sports people, from a motivation point of view, biographies, YouTube, that type of thing, always give it a go, because they're always worth listening to and come out with a lot of golden nuggets that you can adapt into business life, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Business is very much like a sport, isn't it? The consistency, the commitment, the athleticism. People don't realize you have to be fit to run a business. You can't be, both mentally and physically.
Mentally. Absolutely. Yeah. If you get that, I'm writing some training at the moment, and I've not been looking after myself in terms of, been on holiday, had a few weekends out, got a bit, had a few drinks at the weekend and that type of thing. And if you let that creep in too much, like this week, I've been writing training, been doing all that type. Sometimes you do get that real, block, and I've had that a little bit this week, and I've got to admit, I think it's down to not having the clarity of focusing on certain things. So I've had that creep in a little bit this week, so got to change those bad habits. Absolutely. Like Natalie said, particularly habit forming, and you don't want the bad habits forming the other way. So had to have a word with myself this week for sure. Brian said, and I take it you've watched Last Dance and Drive to Survive on Netflix. I've watched both, and in particular Last Dance, I've watched that. I think I've watched that 3 times now. So if anyone's not watched that, please take the time to watch it. It's on Netflix. It's about Michael Jordan, about his time with the Chicago Bulls and the drive and success that it took to win 6 championships, and how he his team. In my opinion, after watching that, here in the UK, obviously we don't concentrate on basketball a lot, but it's got a really strong correlation to business. So if anyone's not watched it, go ahead and watch it, because I would say it's one of the best things I've ever watched from a business motivation point of view. And I honestly think Michael Jordan is the greatest sports person of all time because of his mindset and everything like that. And that's why he's achieved what he's achieved. Roger Federer is quite similar to that for me as well. He's very similar to that. So yeah.
I've just seen the last comment that's just come in.
What's that?
Michael Jordan helped me fix a TV once.
What? Right, okay. We can't go off without now knowing how he helped you fix a TV, because that's the most random comment.
That's really random.
It is really, really random. So guys, we're gonna have to wait, I'm afraid.
We're with bated breath.
Yeah, wait to listen how Michael Jordan. I hope Brian's not gone, because like literally
drop a bomb like that and then leave.
Yeah, mic drop. Off you go. Michael Jordan helped me fix the TV. I really hope it's a story about how he met Michael Jordan in real life, and and Michael Jordan came round to help him fix his TV. I don't think it will be, but we'll wait and see. Natalie said, no one is an overnight success. There are lots of habits and consistent behavior in place for years beforehand. Absolutely. Well and truly. And again, this is, whilst we're waiting for the Michael Jordan story, this is what I was talking about in my post a couple of days ago, maybe yesterday, about an extra income stream. Oh my God, he did help him fix the TV. Well, for anyone that you guys can see that in a moment, but I'll read it in a second. Particularly with what Natalie has said, I didn't form that extra income stream overnight. And by the way, that's one client within that income stream as well. But I can only form that income stream of the 15 years of business experience that's earned before that. I can't just start this today and form an income stream on it tomorrow. The only reason that you're able to create consistent income streams, in particular, I think most people could probably, if you've got a certain level of ability to talk, you could probably start something up tomorrow, make some one-off money. But if you could do it consistently and reoccurring, that's a different story, because you need to be able to deliver results to people. And, that only comes from knowledge and experience. It can't come from anything else. It's as simple as that. So, yeah. All right. So Brian says, I was working at the Ryder Cup in 2012, and he was a guest in the NBC Golf Lounge, and it was me and him in there early morning, and he helped me fix the TV. That is the best story I have ever heard in my whole life. Imagine being like in the same room. I hope you got something more out of it as well than just like literally him fixing the team. I would be really starstruck if I met him, because he's like huge star.
Big star, yeah.
Big star, huge inspiration for sure. He said, drink in hand, both of us at the back of the TV. BBC was on. At the time, wouldn't have it. It was me and him and one of his gang. Legend. There we go. I have heard, it'd be interesting. I have heard he's not necessarily not the nicest person in the world, but because of his drive to succeed, people, that's what they said in The Last Dance. People, he does upset people with his, drive. You either want to be part of it or you're against me, kind of thing. So, but I suppose that maybe is the price of success. Brian said, I didn't, not even a photo, because I was working. I didn't want to be unprofessional. Fair enough. I get that for sure. Well, thank you for sharing. That is a very cool story.
That's a cool story.
Yeah, that's a very cool story. I don't think anyone will be able to beat that, for sure. So, well, have a wonderful time next week. Thanks. Matthew. Go away, relax.
I've got loads of jealous pictures on you.
Absolutely. Live your best life for sure, because that's what this is why we do it. So you make sure that, guys, all of you, I did it when I went to Florida. When you go away, you really take advantage of that downtime. You really take advantage of living your best possible life, because when you come back, you hit it harder than anyone else that's going back to their 9 to 5s. So yeah, do it for sure. Enjoy yourself. So I will see you next week. I'm maybe just me, or I may have a guest. I don't know, but same time, 1 o'clock next Tuesday. Any questions, please, as always, continue to keep putting them in the group. You guys have been posting loads in there lately, so which is fantastic. So continue to do that. If you're on YouTube, make sure you like the video and comment on the video if you can, and give us a thumbs up. Like I said, worst YouTube subscriber in the world. Yeah, and subscribe if you haven't, because you just get a notification when we're live. And we're going to start putting out some content on the YouTube channel soon, aren't we, Matt?
We are indeed. Yes, we've got loads of big things coming.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not going to be I just want to clear it up. We're not doing this to be YouTubers. So when we release a video, so it's not going to be like random waffle, which I know is unusual for me. It's not going to be like, oh, what are my top 5 things I ate for breakfast this morning, that helped me give a productive day at Amazon. It's going to be, we're going to probably be very selective in the content that we release, but hopefully it's going to be very targeted, very specific, and very helpful to what you guys need. So yeah, we're not going to be doing like 5 videos a week or anything like that, but hopefully it'll be.
I thought about this. I was like, oh, I should do a day in the life. And I was like, yeah, I get up, I drink coffee, I sit at my computer, I might go out and do some RA, I go home, go to the gym. That's like my life. I was like, it's not very exciting, is it?
Go to Greg's.
Yeah, go to Greg's. Yeah,
go to Greg's.
We're in the north.
Because you're in the north, absolutely. We don't have Greg's down here. No, we do. We've had this conversation. we don't. We have Pret. Yeah,
we have a distinct lack of Prets. That's the problem.
Yeah. I'm not getting into the north-south divide again. But no, enjoy your holiday. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Have a great week, and we will see you soon. Take care. Bye.
See you soon. Bye.